That's something that I think about a lot. If it's important, then you really have to invest in it.
Yeah.
And don't just leave it to chance.
Right.
It's very easy for all of us to value certain things and hold them in some degree of importance. And then, you get complacent or you get busy with other things, and then you realize down the road that, oh, well, this has changed now.
Yeah.
And the only thing you can do at that point is complain.
Right.
But to be a participant and be an active partner in organizations such as what you guys are doing with the South Mountain Partnership, that is your way to make sure that the things you love about the place you live are going to continue on. Yeah. It's not going to happen just because you want it to.
Right.
It's going to happen because, you're going to put some effort into it.
Yep.
And if it's important, back it up.
Yep. Yep.
Be a participant, be active, and that's the main thing for us, because we couldn't do what we do if we were trying to farm in suburbia amongst the cul-de-sacs and strip malls. I have no interest in trying to farm in those environments, and the fact that we don't have to is the only reason that we can thrive, and it's the reason that we have wildlife on our farm, and we have outdoor recreation in our region, and all these things that we love about living here. We can't take them for granted. We have to be an active participant in maintaining these things.
And you've really been active. I want to highlight not just your support of South Mountain Partnership, but I know that you're a great supporter of the Land Conservancy of Adams County, another great partner of ours. We're looking forward to interviewing Sarah actually later today. So
great.
I'm excited to chat with her. But you're supporting, these conservation networks. But I think the most important thing that you're doing is talking about our region in the way that you have this entire sort of chat that we've had, that the cider is intimately tied to where it's been made. And the more that folks realize that there's something unique about that, the easier it is to care about it, because if we all love it and we know that there's something we need to protect, I think it'll be a lot easier to do it together. So thanks for being such a good advocate.
Oh, well, I appreciate that, and thank you for saying that. And it's second nature. I don't know that I could not do it. It's just something that is it's baked into the bread of who I am.
Hey, it's a good bread. It's a good recipe.
All right, we'll stick to it.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It was really a pleasure to chat with you. Looking forward to hanging out and grooving at Cidernalia later this year. So thank you so much, Ben.
Wonderful. Thank you.
All right. This was a open house production. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome to Mr. Ed's Elephant Museum and Candy Emporium, one of Pennsylvania's most unique destinations and beloved candy store.
From the moment you walk inside, be prepared to be wowed. You'll be greeted by the store's delightful ambiance and delicious sweet smell. Then you'll start to see all the wonderful things that await you. Mr. Ed's has more than 1,000 varieties of old-fashioned favorites, as well as today's trending candies. From nostalgic favorites to unique and hard-to-find treats, they have something to satisfy every sweet tooth.
I haven't seen these since I was a kid.
Mr. Ed's also makes their own treats, from loaded pretzels and cinnamon-glazed nuts to chocolates and brittles. Each is made in small batches with the best ingredients. Their dedication and commitment to quality are evident in every single handcrafted treat.
And no visit to Mr. Ed's is complete without fudge.
With more than 350 flavors on their ever-changing menu, you can sample any of the flavors you'd like. Each delectable treat is crafted with love and attention to detail. You'll never forget Mr. Ed's elephant collection. It started with a good luck wedding present and grew into a larger-than-life museum. There's nothing quite like the delicious smell of peanuts being roasted in this 1903 roaster. You can grab a bag of these in light, regular, or dark roast. Or maybe grab a jar of homemade peanut butter, ground in-store fresh. Visit Mr. Ed's Elephant Museum and Candy Emporium and let your taste buds embark on a delightful journey through the world of sweets. It's an experience you won't want to miss.
Welcome to the Gettysburg Hotel, established in 1797, located in the heart of downtown Gettysburg. Easy walking distance to shops, museums, restaurants, and the battlefield.
Just a quick drive from Washington, D.C., Baltimore, and Philadelphia, which makes it an ideal spot for travelers wanting to escape to the past.
While the hotel may be historic in nature, it offers modern amenities and exceptional service. And before I go to my room, I'm going to take a quick stop at the on-site Starbucks. The hotel has 119 spacious guest rooms and 56 suites.
Every guest room has updated amenities featuring a fresh new look. However, each guest room is unique, considering the property has held a variety of different roles in the past, including being known as the West Wing of the White House during President Eisenhower's administration.
In fact, there's even a suite named after him. Let's go take a look.
After a long day of seeing the sights, wind down and enjoy a cocktail and amazing casual comfort foods at One Lincoln. Their seasonal menu offers a variety of local favorites that I'm sure any member of the family will enjoy. The Gettysburg Hotel hosts a wide range of weddings, events, and conferences. They offer 8,500 square feet of flexible event space, which includes the historic Grand Ballroom, which originally was the Gettysburg National Bank from 1814 to 1914, which features exquisite 28 feet high ceilings and an impressive 19th century bank vault.
Whether you're coming to Gettysburg for a work trip, a wedding, or just to see the sights, Gettysburg Hotel is the perfect location in the center of all the action. And we can't wait to see you on your next adventure.
Hello again, everybody, here on Community Media Sports Chat. And you're probably wondering, where is Jeff? Well, Jeff is taking a well-deserved vacation assignment, however you want to slice it or dice it. So he is going to be back August 19th. So, I kind of, made a call to the bullpen, and I got Brady and Nick back on the desk. So welcome aboard back here to talk here on Sports Chat. So
Glad to be back.
Yeah, welcome to be back.
it's been a while there, Nick. So,
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
just want to let the viewers know of how things been, or
Yeah, just enjoying summer, working hard, and getting ready for the fall.
How was South Penn baseball?
Good. The Bulldogs, they made it to the semifinals for the first time in over 10 years, finished with a 500 record. I think it was the first time in like over 6 years, and they got swept in the semifinals by Cashtown, but a 28-2 Cashtown team they're pretty solid. So that was pretty. I think everyone was very pleased with the season so far, or season this year. So just looking forward to building on it next year.
Now, did you see Jeff on Thursday? Because he's saying that he was covering the game on Thursday. So
I was at the beach, so
okay.
yeah.
That's probably why he sent me a text of how the, because he was, gives me reports like, oh, Brady did this, Brady did that.
Yeah.
So that was probably why I did not get a text because you were
Yeah.
at the beach.
I wish I would have been there. That would have been nice to see him.
So we got some hot seat shining stars. So where should we pivot first? Should we go with positivity or should we go with the lesser of
Stay
negativity?
positive.
Okay, let's stay positive here. So who wants to start out with the shining star?
I can go first. I have the We Are D3, the basketball tournament team. It's a 64-team tournament competing for $1 million. They defeated the tournament favorite, the Syracuse alumni, as well as the UConn alumni, and they're in the semifinals right now. They faced the Wichita State alumni, and just a crazy story since they're all Division III guys. It's a cool story that they're just overcoming the odds. So definitely my shining star of the week.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. My shining star of the week, and a little bit longer than a week, but is Trevor Rogers, starting pitcher for the Baltimore Orioles. And just for a team that's it's been so well documented how poor their pitching has been doing the whole season, to have him really be a bright spot for them in the midst of all the struggles. In 48 innings since returning from the injured reserve, he has a 1.49 ERA with 40 strikeouts, and he's 4-1. So he's just been really, as a fan at least, it's been really nice to see him do well.
Definitely superb. Just kind of seeing the numbers and all that there. And I was kind of chuckling a little bit when I saw his numbers because he only had 6 starts at the All-Star break, and they were using the comparison with Jacob Mizorowski.
Yeah.
I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Rogers deserved to be in the All-Star game. It was just more of a nod, looking at his numbers to Mizorowski's numbers. I think if Rogers would have kept that pace and not hurt, I think we're going to be, having a different discussion about the Orioles later on in the show there. But I think definitely worthy of a shining star. Just phenomenal, almost taking that bulldog mentality for the Orioles that needed. Because you look at that rotation, it's lackluster of someone that you can guarantee to go at least 6-7 innings or deeper. So I like that shining star, and I'm going to go with the low-hanging fruit, kind of still a line from Jeff there. I'm going with the A's outfielder, Nick Kurtz. Is a Lancaster native, and that's how he's got the name Big Amish, because, he does, the home run when he's going around second base and kind of stirring the pot there. But he is the first rookie to have 4 home runs in a game, ended the night 6 for 6, 19 total bases, tying the mark from 2002 with Sean Green. Looking at it, it was just amazing, just seeing, not even swinging hard and getting that result there. And the talent that the A's have, that's why, in the spring I said that could be a dark horse team to flirt with a playoff spot. And that kind of went to the wayside when they are, let me see here, they are 46-63. To their standards, it's not bad, but their run differential is minus 123. So that kind of, I took, some, it's a bold prediction. So see what happens.
It's a hot
there.
take.
But I like what Nick Kurtz is doing. He was the player of the week, which was not a surprise at all there. So I like the direction that, Nick Kurtz is going. And going into that game, he was minus 325 to be the rookie of the year. Now it's like minus 2,500, 25,000 or something like that. It's just, might as well just give him the award now.
I think
Over
it's
his
crazy.
teammate, too.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think it's crazy how quickly he's jumped Jacob Wilson, who was the favorite for like the entirety of the year.
Yeah,
And just
wire to wire.
one more thing on Kurtz, like for a guy that was playing college ball for
Okay.
a guy who was playing college ball 14 months ago to now being like the AL Rookie of the Year favorite. And we're going to talk later about the buyers and sellers. The Reds and Guardians are two teams that passed on him in the draft like a year ago in 2024. Like, how much would a bat like that help them right now?
And that's the crazy part was, we're seeing these guys, less than a year, kind of making these strides. The Mizorowskis and, seeing how Kurtz is doing, it's just showing how important these drafts are now. You want to go to the hot seat?
Yeah, I have Emmanuel Clase. He's being investigated by the MLB for a sports betting scandal that included his teammate Luis Ortiz. It is because two of his pitches that were balls have like the most bet on pitch of the game, and it was just very interesting. He's right now in a 30-game paid leave, which sucks for the Guardians because he's one of the best closers in baseball and was rumored to be getting dealt at the deadline. So a huge loss for them and an asset for a team that is struggling in the wild card right now.
My hot seat is Mike Elias, the GM of the Orioles. He's gotten a lot of flack this year for this kind of the same reason, just not doing enough in the offseason to get the Orioles competitive. And I think like right now as we approach the deadline, and I'm pretty firm that the Orioles are going to be sellers, like this is his time to shine, to do really well at this deadline and kind of regain some trust from the fans and also just put them in a position to be competitive next year again.
Yeah, that's definitely right up there. It's just what pieces will they sell? Because where they're at, they're 9 games under 500. It's just a day late and a dollar short where they're at. They're getting their pieces together where their lineup was at the beginning of the season and what it is now. It's like, where was this, in the late spring, in the summer, and then when you get swept by the Nats and you take 1 of 6 against the Nats, it's just, there's so many games where you could have had chances. So, with Mike Elias, it's going to be in a different situation of where he was in the previous seasons, where he was, lack of a better terms, locked into the playoffs, even though they weren't, but he didn't feel that pressure. Now the pressure is, how can we, not rebuild, but retooling this team and better in 2026. So I'm going to stick with the baseball and stick to the AL East there. I'm going to go with the New York Yankees. I would say, a month ago, it was almost, you could just ink it in that they're going to make the playoffs. And now it's, I wouldn't be shocked, speaking here July 29th, that they could miss the playoffs. And they're only 8 games over 500. It's not a far prediction there. So you look at where they're at. They're 4-6 in their last 10 games. And they have the number 1 wild card spot by 1 game. Seattle has a half game, and then the Red Sox have the 3rd wild card spot. But outside looking in is the Rangers. So you could be top of the wild card and then just slide all the way down. So I put them on the hot seat for another reason, of just with Aaron Judge being out. How can you utilize a AL MVP favorite to now being a wild card team? So there's a different mixtures of it. You have the Blue Jays playing basically 700 baseball in the last 40 games. So that doesn't help causes of, having an 8-game lead to now being 5.5 games back. So it's kind of like, one team is white hot and then you're just, cooling off just a tad. So.
And an interesting fact I saw about the Yankees the other day is that when they do not make an error, they have the best record in baseball. But when they do make an error, they have the worst record in baseball, like win percentage wise. So it's just crazy to see how like their defense is like so crucial to that, because like they're known for their hitters, but if you don't have the defense to back it up, you're screwed.
Yeah, it's how can, and we can kind of bridge right to the trade deadline. They have made 2 trades currently speaking. They got Amon Rosario and Ryan McMahon. Didn't give up a lot, but you look at those pieces, they're not what you say people that know about those. They're good bench players, but would those pieces kind of work to kind of bridge the gap of, Aaron Judge being out? The thing is, Aaron Judge is not going to be playing on the field the rest of the season. So then you have 2 designated hitters now in the lineup. Do you trust Stan being at right field? I don't think he can play first base, so you got a lot of aging players, and we have said that a lot, with the Yankees over the years. Aging players, I see them making a splash, but I don't know what type of player that they can get to fill in those needs.
Yeah, I think that the minor deals that they've made so far are nothing really more than just giving Aaron Boone more flexibility come playoff times. Like Rosario, he's not a good defender, but he can play a lot of positions okay, and he hits really well against lefties. So maybe we're looking at kind of a platoon with McMahon, who's a lefty who hits righties well.
The lefty-righty.
I think he gives him a lot of
switch
options, and you can play kind of the bullpen pinch hitter game once you get into the playoffs. But I agree, they're not like big needle mover moves. And like to further your point, I don't know what the big move is for them. I don't think it's a Suarez now that you've dealt for 2 third basemen. I don't think you need a starting pitcher, maybe bullpen help, but I don't really know where you go to improve this team that much than within.
Yeah, I agree. The thing is with bullpen help, that's almost every team in the league needs bullpen help. So you kind of look at, the teams that will give up bullpen help, and then you're kind of looking at, 4 or 5 teams? I mean, we'll always hear about the Pirates with Bednar because, the Pirates always sell. So could that be a piece? There's a possibility.
I think it makes a lot of sense. I think, like, of all the guys available, Bednar to me just screams a Yankee. Like, he just looks the part. He just feels like a Yankee to me. The other one that I've seen is Ryan Helsley of the Cardinals, their closer. That can make a lot of sense, too. But with what you said about how many teams need bullpen arms, it's going to come at a premium. And the Yankees have one of the worst farm systems in the league. Are they going to win a bidding war for any big-time reliever? I don't really see it happen. I'm sure they'll get somebody, but how much of an impact are they going to be able to make at this deadline is a big question for me.
Yeah, and I think the big one is probably Eugenio Suarez. After hearing what happened yesterday, with, getting hit in the hand during the Tigers D-backs game, came back negative, but does that make the market shrink a little bit there? Teams kind of going away? Because, I mean, we already saw reports that Seattle was like, hey, we're out because the asking price is too much. Where do you see the landing spot for Suarez? I have one dark team. I'll say it after yours.
I think Detroit's the obvious one. I know it looks bad after they just hit him in the hand last night, but that's the big contender who is in a position to make the move. Seattle being out on him surprised me a lot. They have one of the better farm systems in the league. So, I feel like they could make the move. But beyond that, whoever has to pay for him, it's going to be a lot. I've seen that He'll be the first player when he is traded to hit 35 homers before being traded in a season. So I feel like for as far as rental bats go, like historically, like we're kind of in uncharted territory. Detroit again makes the most sense, but I wouldn't be shocked if some team that's kind of on the bubble just really makes a push if they think they have the roster to make the push this year for him.
Where do you think, Brady?
I was gonna go with the probably Tigers or Mariners as well. But
So my prediction of where Suarez goes is the Reds. I think he goes
seeing
back. I think he
Interesting.
goes back to the Reds. He has great numbers at at Great American Ballpark. And you look at the Reds, they're 56 and 51. They're only 2 games back. And you put that back in the lineup, I think that plays. I think I don't think they're able to catch down or catch the Cubs and the Brewers. But only being 2 games back and you're fighting with the Padres, I could see it. That's one of those. Do they have it? I mean, you look at the farm system for the Reds. They have all that pitching down in the farm system. So I could see it. But do they want to put all their chips for a 2-month rental? It's very compelling. That's where I'm going to go with.
especially if they're chasing the Padres, who offered Cease and Salas for Duran, and the Red Sox said no. So Padres are trying to get better as well. So it'll make the wild card race very interesting.
Yeah, if they did go that route and landed Suarez, it makes the Reds' offense a lot better. I mean, an Ellie De La Cruz and Suarez duo in that lineup, you can really convince yourself is pretty darn good. And they have the pitching. If they make the push to the playoffs, they could just match up with just about any team. But I agree with you. It's a question like how much do they want to push forward?
That's because right now I think the 2 games is a great window, and you're not chasing a lot of teams. You're only chasing the Padres and the Phillies, and then of course the Cubs and the Brewers in your division. So it's not like you have to hunt down 3-4 teams. It's realistic. It's right there. And you're getting Hunter Brown or Hunter Green. I get the Hunters mixed up sometimes there, but you're getting Hunter coming back probably the second week of August. And if he's pitching the way that he did, in April and May, he's been dealt with his hamstring injury. So that could be almost a mid-season trade, and you're getting your ace back. So you look at that. I like it. But you look at, sticking with the NL Central, how about the Cubs? The Cubs are very intriguing, because they need the pitching. And what I can see a team or a pitching arm being dealt to the Cubs, you got Joe Ryan, Mitch Keller. Does Mackenzie Gore get dealt from the Nats? Is there something out there for the Cubs?
I just think that Mackenzie Gore's asking price is going to be way too high, which, I mean, it should be. He's a very young, good prospect, or not a prospect
3
anymore,
years
but
control, or
Oh, yeah.
it's going to be a hefty price, and which, if the Cubs, I'm not sure how their farm system is, but if they don't want to blow up what they have going now, they're not going to be able to afford Gore.
And to piggyback off that, trading Gore from a Nationals perspective is just like, it's kind of almost a slap in the face to the fans. Like, you're trading a core piece he was the core piece of the Juan Soto rebuild deal for them, and you're going to trade the core piece of a rebuild deal to kickstart another rebuild. It's
Yeah.
just a rough look for me.
I would agree. Of those arms, I would say maybe Joe Ryan, but you look at the Twins; they're not far out of it. So, but I do see the Cubs need to do something, because if they lose this series with the Brewers, then you're 2 games back. You're already 1 game back, and you're chasing them down. And the Cubs basically had a 6-game. They look like a team that was basically locked to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And now you spin it forward 40 games, and now you're a game behind the Brewers. So I would like to see them getting a veteran type of arm. Mitch Keller seems like the perfect one. Not too old, not too young, kind of right in that middle there.
The only pushback for me on Keller is I agree with that. I think he's definitely going to get dealt this deadline. But he's got a little bit of a track record now the past 2 or 3 years, having a great start to the season and then post All-Star break really kind of falling off a cliff. So that might kind of dissuade teams from really making a strong package for him.
Yeah, maybe like a moderate package, but I think when you're in a bidding war with other teams, you're going to have to give up some prospects for that. So that's going to be a very interesting dilemma there. Any other teams you see that needs or a question mark of what you see a team doing at the deadline?
I think going back to the Orioles and like a similar team in the NL, the Braves, I think that those teams should be like soft sellers because they have both dealt with crazy injuries when both the batting and pitching rotations, like the Braves 1 through 5 starters from opening day have all reached the 60-day IL. The Orioles haven't had their core pitchers all season, and they're still like these are very good, very talented teams on paper, and they just need to I wouldn't oversell just because of one bad year. Braves aren't used to this. The Orioles the past couple of years have been really good, not used to being this bad. But I just think blowing it up would not put them in the right direction moving forward.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how the Orioles go about because you look at the bullpen at the start of the year until now, it's completely different. So, they just traded, Sir Anthony Dominguez to the Blue Jays. You traded, Brian Baker. Bautista's probably not going to pitch the rest of the season. Why risk it when you're not going anywhere this year? And I can see them trading Morton being dealt. Eflin, no. If somebody wants Sagano, I guess you can take them. But so then you're kind of looking at, all right, you trade those pieces, and then you figure Mullins going to get Mullins or Hearn, Urias. So you get all those guys traded. Then who comes up? Because these prospects coming up are not going to be on the major league roster. So is it time for Samuel Basallo to come up? Is it Kjerstad? I think he's on the 7-day IL or with fatigue or something. I just saw that line when I was coming into work or coming in here. So that's going to be the interesting interlayer is where they go. Mm-hmm. How's this team going to look this weekend? Because the core pieces are not. I should say the second core tier is not going to be there. Yeah. You're so used to having Urias on at third base. Kind of giving Westberg a day or Henderson a day. You won't have that. So, but I don't think it's going to be a full yard sell mode. I like the soft sell and then kind of build within for 2026.
I think that's where Jordan Westberg's second base ability comes into play for the Orioles because they can move him a second. Holiday can give Gunnar some breaks at shortstop, and Kobe Mayo plays third base too, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he can fill in at third. If you call up Basallo, give him some first base catcher, give Adley a break, but.
Do you think they're holding off on Basallo for the long term to have an extra year of control? Because it seems like if that's the case, I think it would be middle of August when that won't play a role. Because if that's the case, why burn a waste of a year? Mm-hmm. I mean, he is tearing it up in AAA. You look at the numbers, but. I was like, hey, it's time to bring them up. But maybe just because there's their record and you just don't want to, have, one less season. So I don't know. It's frustrating on both ends there. See how it goes. One thing I forgot to add with the baseball is the ET. The ET is now up to 109. Looking at where we were at last year at the end of July, it was 118. So we're actually decreasing the amount of ejections. And a notable, with the ejections was the Padres are now up to 7 as a team. So I believe the Rockies are at 1. So, you got that. I thought that number. I thought I would have had to increase that number because Manzolino was arguing a little bit in the third inning. I thought I have to update this ET tracker to 110, but he did not get ejected. So the other thing I want to address is the current banner sponsor. If you want to be a banner sponsor here for community media, it's $80 a month or $880 a year. And what that entails is being recognized in a weekly local programming credits on Comcast Xfinity channels 12 and 240, YouTube channel, and Facebook page. Individual customized social media shout-outs highlighted in digital quarterly newsletter read by hundreds of subscribers. Now, our banner sponsors is Adams County Community Foundation, Adams County Sports Hall of Fame, Destination Gettysburg, Classic Antique Innovations, Claire Lohman Realtor, UPMC Life Changing Medicine. So, like to thank everybody to the current banner sponsors, and thank you once again for the sponsors. So I'm not used to doing those ad reads, so I want to make sure I got that in there. And if you want to call in the sports chat, it is 717-334-3000. You want to talk about anything in the sporting world, just give us a dial and feel free. And this is show 894, and we're slowly getting to 900. So it looks like 900 will be about a few weeks away. It'll probably be about like the middle of September, probably around my birthday week. So there we go. There's that. And kind of put a pin in for the baseball. What team outside of the playoff bubble or the playoff picture will make the playoffs?
You want to go ahead, or you want me to take it first?
You can go first.
Okay. I can see the San Francisco Giants being a team that makes a push. They're 4 games back right now, but we've talked about how the Dodgers are kind of scuffling a little bit with all their injuries. Padres are in a position where they could make a push, but they're kind of on unstable ground right now. I think the Giants, they just have the talent to do it. Willy Adames has really struggled all season, but he's a guy you paid a lot of money, and I think he's going to pick it up on the back half. And Rafael Devers, he's been an injection of offense to that team.
Playing first base.
But it just seems like they have the pitching to do it. They have the offensive star power. I can see them getting hot and just really making a push for it. And I don't think that the teams that are immediately ahead of them are that much better than them, and they can't overtake them.
One team for me, move over to the AL. I think that the Rangers, they're not really being talked about too much, but I believe they're, half game out?
Yeah, they're a half game back from the Red Sox.
Half game out, and the Rays are behind them. The Red Sox, the Yankees, the Blue Jays are all teams that are ahead of them, and they're just going to be beating each other up the rest of the year. So that could be a team that could make a right deadline move, and they could sneak into the playoffs.
I'm going to stick with the AL. I'm going to go with the Rays. I look at them, 54 and 53. They're going to be sellers. They're going to be little buyers, kind of like what we would say is not the top tier, not the medium tier, but kind of like the forgotten trades, and I think that could be a trade out there that we'll see on Thursday that will kind of sneak them in there. But they've been kind of slumping a little bit there, but they're right in that line there, and I could see that. The teams underneath them, the Guardians, who knows? They're 52 and 54, but without Emilio with Clase being out, and they were going to trade him anyway. So, you look at the Guardians, the Angels 4.5. I don't really like. The Royals are really regressing from where they were at last year. So, if I have to pick a team, I'll go with the Rays, and I do like the Rangers and the Giants as well. So I couldn't, I didn't want to piggyback on that there.
Yeah. To kind of further your point already, yesterday they traded away their starting catcher Danny Jansen, and then immediately made a trade to get the Marlins Nick Fortes, their new catcher. So they're a team that constantly retools and changes. And they're great at identifying talent, so they could sneak through and make some really good moves here right at the deadline.
I was definitely surprised with the Jansen trade, kind of seeing that, where he went. It was not on my radar. So changing directions a little bit there to NFL. Where should we start out with these holdouts, hold-ins, or will they play, will they not play?
We can start in Cincinnati because I've seen a recent report that the Hendrickson and the Bengals are agreeing on everything right now except for guaranteed money. That's the last step. So that's a huge step in the right direction from where they were to begin the offseason, because those two are seemingly on completely different islands, and now they're starting to work together. Just got to figure out the guaranteed money, and that's a huge get for the Bengals, especially after they finally signed their rookie Shamar Stewart for a defense that was god-awful last year.
I'm going to go with I thought you were going to go with Dallas.
I'll
with
tag
Parsons.
on after you.
I that's where I thought, I was putting that on the tee there for you. I'm going to go with Parsons because it seems like they are so far apart that, he'll play, ? But he wants that deal. You look at, JJ, or, you got Watt's deal, you got other deals that have happened. You got, Trey Henderson out there as well looking for a deal. He led the league in sacks. And you look at Parsons, I feel like it's going to be a very interesting training camp.
I just know that Mike is the type of person that where he's going to play and he's going to only make his costs go up. The Cowboys always cost themselves a ton of money. They did it with Dak. They waited till the last second to sign him, made him the highest paid quarterback.
Zeke.
Waited for CD. And they extended Jake Ferguson the other day while Mike is sitting there waiting for a contract. It's just very poor decisions made by the ownership, and it cost themselves more money, and which makes them focus all their money on star players, and then the rest of the roster is not the greatest, which could be why they can't get over the hump in the playoffs. So just pay the good players when they want it, and then fill in the rest. But they just can't seem to figure that one out.
I'll take the last one since you guys took those two. Terry McLaurin, the Commanders wide receiver. It's a two-part thing for me. One, I think the sign that he's holding in, he's still at their facilities and he's getting work done rehabbing, I think, his knee or ankle?
I think calf.
Calf. I think that's a good sign that shows, obviously he wants to be there. They need to get the things figured out. And just the other side of it, Commanders, what are you doing? I'd just pay the man. I mean, you just had one of the best seasons in your franchise history, and especially lately. Just pay the man. I think he's worth it. I think he's proven to be a valuable part of their team.
And this is the perfect time to pay him, because you're on a rookie deal with Daniels. And this is when you can use other pieces. So you pay Terry, and I know he wants DK Metcalf money. I think he wants $33 million a year. So it's definitely a steep asking price of where he is at right now, but I think he deserves it of where he's at. But I think at the end of the day, I think the Commanders sign him. I think they would be foolish, to have this drag right into the regular season. So,
And especially, go ahead.
Mine will take a little bit. You can go ahead.
Okay. Especially for a guy that, like, he's been with the Commanders for a couple of years now. He's been through the struggles, and he's performed every single year. He's a fan favorite. Like, I just don't understand why you don't pay the man. Why do you even leave room for this conflict to happen? I don't get it.
I think that the Commanders need to take, like, what the 49ers did, where they had the rookie deal, a little bit cheaper rookie deal, obviously, Mr. Irrelevant versus number 2 overall pick, but they built a very, very talented roster around both Garoppolo and then Purdy, and you can't say they weren't successful. They made 2 Super Bowls. I mean, how would you not build around and then just, like, prepare better than the 49ers did for when all the players don't, like, leave in one off season? You just, like, I think if they look at what the Niners did, that could be very, very important to their success in the upcoming years. So
you look at the window for the Niners during that time frame. Yes, they didn't win the title, but they were the dominating team in the NFC.
Yeah.
With their pieces and their window. I wouldn't say their window is closed, but the door is closing ever so slightly. Because you look at the NFC West, I could see Seattle making a fight there, the Rams, kind of catching up to the Niners. Well, I mean, not even catching up, kind of making a lap past them because I mean where the Niners were last year, and it kind of goes to the next point is how much do you trust in CMC? Because CMC is, we have seen this before with CMC of a phenomenal season, then the next season it's very lackluster, kind of going back to his Carolina days, and then kind of that resurgence of when he was with the Niners. So are we going to see like 2023 CMC, or is this going to be kind of like the decline of Christian McCaffrey?
For me, he's a really polarizing player. He's for a long time been the guy that when he's on the field, he's just dominant and then just can't stay on the field. I compare him a lot, like crossing over sports, to the Twins center fielder, Byron Buxton. Just another guy who, when they're on the field, they're dominant talents, and you can't really move off of them because, like, production-wise, who are you going to get that's going to be better than that?
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you can't stay on the field, how do you? It's a weird spot. I think you kind of just got to roll with him and just hope for the best. Hope he stays healthy.
And you got a good backup with Garendo. Isaac Garendo that was a name that no one knew about last year at this time frame. So you look at that, and I don't think they're going to just go until the wheels come off there. But I think he's going to be, if he's not injured, and the Niners kept on kind of glossing over how bad the injury was. Yeah. But if he's fully healthy, I like the Niners offense. Now, they don't have Debo. Debo is with the Commanders, but they still have the key pieces around that can be what they were 2 seasons ago. And then kind of looking at the other wide receiver is the Denver Broncos inked up wide receiver Courtland Sutton. And it looks like it's 2 years guaranteed, so they could probably cut ties after the 2026 season. So,
which is a very important move for the Broncos because they're so defense heavy. Added Talanoa Hufanga and Dre Greenlaw in the offseason. And the questions all last year were around the rookie quarterback, Bo Nix, and the offense. And one of the main reasons they were able to make the playoffs was the play of Courtland Sutton, so it makes sense to lock him up for 2 more years and then keep the defense how it is and start building the offense for the future, make more successful postseason runs. So
I like it, with him being 31. which it's hard to believe that, Son's been in the league since 2018.
Yeah.
It seems like he's been in the league longer than Josh Allen, but they were both in that same year. So I like it to the formation where it's, it's a 4-year deal, but you can get out of it after 2, especially with his age being 31. Sometimes that's the end all be all with wide receivers, but I like that. That's their number one. You have Bo Nix, and then you have Evan Ingram as a tight end. That's a good couple pieces around there. So, any other pieces in the NFL there before we wrap up with a few minutes left there, or?
I would just say that with Kenny Pickett going down with a hamstring injury, Deshaun Watson being placed on the physically unable to perform list, that really leaves Dylan Gabriel, who the Browns drafted in the 3rd round and view very highly. It's a golden opportunity. It's him versus Joe Flacco, and Joe Flacco's seen a lot better days. Dylan Gabriel's a rookie, so just seeing if he can capitalize on this opportunity and become a starter in the NFL would be just very interesting to see.
I wouldn't be surprised if Flacco is the week 1 quarterback.
Week 1, yeah, I can see that as well.
I think with the injury with Kenny Pickett, I think that almost foregoes them to release him, because you're not going to have 4 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And with him dealing with the hamstring, and I'm not going to say that Kenny Pickett was going to be number 1. I think at the when I saw the draft and I saw the depth chart of those 4 quarterbacks, I always thought Flacco was going to be number 1. I kind of felt like he was going to edge out Kenny Pickett, and then it was just going to be, the 2 rookie quarterbacks kind of dueling for the number 2. So Flacco's not going to start every game of the season. I think there will be a point with their record, and then they will go to Gabriel, and then Shador will be the number 3. He's not even taking first team reps with Shador. So who knows? But I'm leaning towards Flacco and then Gabriel. Is that what you're kind of?
Yeah, I think Gabriel probably has the most upside of the group. I don't know. Do you guys think there'll be a chance we see Shador at all? What do you think?
Unless there's a boatload of injuries or just very poor play, but I don't see a way that Shador comes out there.
These next couple of preseason games will also be a huge factor in that as well, but just because if Gabriel doesn't do well in preseason, Shador shines, you never know. There's more controversy there, and because Joe Flacco is only going to be able to start you a couple games, like you've been saying. So,
I see Flacco starting the month of September, and if they're like 1-4 or going into October, I can see them like, all right, the season's getting away from us. Let's go to the young guy. And if that doesn't work, let's go to the other young guy. Because that's why I feel like it was either going to be Kenny Pickett or Joe Flacco getting released. Because you're not going to keep 4, like I said. And with this injury, it was almost like, all right, now we only have 3. So, see what happens there. But
do you think there's a chance we just see a revolving door of the 3 of them throughout the rest of the season, and when Pickett comes back, maybe? I feel like that seems very likely at this point, unless Gabriel shines.
Of the choices, I think a revolving door is probably the best answer. But it is it is July 29th, so it's so hard to tell a little bit there. But I don't know. Like I said, we'll see. But any parting thoughts?
Football is officially back on Thursday, so
yes.
Hall of Fame game. Trey Lance is getting the start for the Chargers. Most people probably didn't know he was even on the Chargers, but
I kind of forgot.
He'll be starting against the Lions on Thursday, so
it's a very meaningless game there that we'll see the starters for like a series,
if even that.
a drive. So, yeah, it's good to see football, but it's not it's not the quality football that we'll see. Even in the middle of August, this is very vanilla based football. But hey, we got it. That's Thursday. But hey, it was good having you guys back on the show. you're more than welcome to come back, next week and the 12th as well there. But that will wrap up the 894th edition of Sports Chat here on Community Media. And stay tuned. 14 minutes away is trivia. With that, have a good one. All right. It's kind of going fast.
Fine.
How was my sound there, Jordan? Actually, I did.
I forgot Baltimore's playing a doubleheader.